Welcome to Golden Night Hangouts. My name's Blake. This is Liminal, set in 1970 Oxford. Got some investigators in Oxford investigating some weird stuff going down. If you'd all like to take turns introducing your name and your characters' names and pronouns, we'll start with Puckett.
Hi there, my name is Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be playing John Hardesty, who is an investigator and who also uses he, him pronouns. Is there anything else that you would like to know about him?
No, that'll do.
Okay.
Well, his name. It was John Hardesty, wasn't it?
John Hardesty.
All right, we'll jump over to Mendel.
Hi. So I'm Mendel. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Haley Gersick, who uses she, her pronouns, is a were-badger who helps out in the investigations. Also, she keeps the shop at in the building that the rest of the investigators hang out in.
All right, and we'll pop over to Amanda.
Hey, I'm Mander. Go by he, him, and I'm playing Professor Vennings, and please, Professor Vennings is how it's like to be called. I appreciate things that are ancient but old-fashioned, as the modern people call it, will do.
No worries. So, the sun had just gone. There's been a rush of attacks on students at some of the colleges. Your crew were kind of having a chat with them at the Bastille, a pseudo-French cafe, and the sun had just gone down, so it's just gone dark, and it's autumn, so it's a cold evening. Bodhi, the player that isn't here at the moment, his character Aisling has decided to go back to the shop. They've got some studying to do because they're studying nursing, I believe, so they're going to go back and do some studying at the shop. Okay, what are the rest of you doing?
If I remember from our last session, there were 3 students that had been injured. We spoke to one of them, and they thought that had been lacerations, but we could tell I think they were claw scratches. Is that, if I remember properly?
Yeah, claw or bite. It's definitely not a knife.
Right. And so, if I remember properly, that's kind of where we left off. We were at a cafe when we met that student.
Yep, that's correct. Because 2 of you went and saw that one in hospital. One of the other ones, Aisling just chatted to, and he's gone back to study, so he was heard but not put in hospital. Some of the students just talk about going home. There's a big day tomorrow. There's going to be a protest. And tomorrow night, there's a hen's night at the campus and a buck's night at this cafe you're sitting in.
I'm sorry, out of character, you said a box night?
A buck's night.
Yep.
Like a hen's night and a buck's night, the night your kind of last night of being free before your wedding.
Bachelor and bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, for the American side of things.
Thank you. I didn't know that. And so is this something that it would be open to the public, or is the pub or the cafe being as a private event?
Well, Haley is organising the hen's night or bachelorette night, so you can just say you lot are invited if you want. John would get an invite to the bucks night because you all know most of these people. So,
would it be my I'll say for the sake of the game that my character will go. For social obligations, I will attend as needed, but I have other more important studies to attend to. But one must keep in good graces with fellow academics.
you can either go for half an hour, have a quick drink, and then head off, or whatever. Just social
As I
issues.
must.
Yep.
Perhaps I'll find someone of worthy intellect to engage in conversation.
We could say for that Lydia is one of your students. So she's the one for whom the hen night is. So like
Okay.
she's obligated to invite, her advisor to the hen night, but at the same time it'd be kind of awkward if you stuck around indefinitely.
But yeah, a lot of them were saying there's a protest tomorrow, so they're going to have an early night, head home. What are the rest of you doing?
So I figure so we don't yet know whether this this villain is attacking non-students or non-men, but this is a good question. Do I think that John could pass as a student?
I don't know how young does John look. I imagined him late 20s or early 30s, but he could be.
Sorry
younger.
about that.
What?
I was going to say I'm muted, but I could probably pass as a grad student.
Okay, yeah. So one of the options is we could do the trope of having one of our investigators dress up as a likely target. I can find some like a T-shirt with a protest slogan on it that you could be wearing after dark in town to make yourself an opportune target for whoever this attacker is.
Now, at that point in the UK, wouldn't it be like, supporting mine workers or something along those lines, supporting unionists?
Yep.
Unionists meaning union members, not the union.
Yeah.
But I'm good with that. But it occurs to me we might want to get Professor Vennings on this as well, because there is that very friendly ghost we met, Bartholomew. And Bartholomew might be willing to kind of trail me around just in case.
Ah, Bartholomew, a gentleman from a bygone era. I'd be delighted to interface with that good fellow.
This sounds like the beginnings of a plan. And you know me, I mean, when we've got the beginnings of a plan, well, that's as good as having a plan, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
It's not so much a plan as a series of resources and a vague objective, but we can assemble those together nonetheless. So, do we want the ghost Bartholomew to trail you around, John, and then Professor Vennings will find out if our help is suddenly needed, and we will be in the vicinity, although not so close as to perhaps prevent an attack against a likely target.
Are you talking about this is for tonight, or this is tomorrow night during the parties?
This is for tonight.
Right.
Just to see. I mean, after all, if more people are going home tonight, there are fewer targets. So
Yeah.
if this attacker is looking for someone, it may be easier to be the opportune target.
I mean,
Now-
you're going to pour blood on yourself and skip down the lane? I mean, how much of a target are you going to look like him?
Well, that's a good question. Have we figured out whether did we ask whether the people who'd been attacked had been drinking or smoking, like what they had been doing in the hour or two previous?
2 of them had been drinking, but lightly. None of them had been smoking, because they're all students. None of them have a huge amount of cash.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, only one of them had previously been a protester.
Okay. So what makes sense to me is and I'm actually saying this because it's what we have learned about the people who were attacked, not because John would want to do this anyway. Go to a pub for a pint, but dressed as a student would be, but just your regular average garden variety student. not wearing any of the clothes that the victims wore, but to dress in a similar fashion. Scrub down, try to get all this, I'll try to get all the cigarette smoke off of, cigarette smoke hangs around everywhere. And to probably try to borrow some clothes from somebody. Just to be able to go out with clothes that don't smell like smoke. And
Yep. I can probably arrange for you to have some clothes. That's not hard to do.
It seems like the commonality between the victims is students and geographical location.
yes,
I don't think we found any other commonalities.
not really.
The human male, like none of them, as far as you know, are fae or weird creatures or anything.
Did they all have facial hair, or did none of them have it, or was it like some had facial hair, some didn't?
Yeah, there's no tie there.
Okay.
Didn't expect that question.
Okay. So yeah, that sounds like a plan.
It would have to be a pub that is in that. This geographical location? How many blocks?
2 to 3 blocks.
2 to 3. Okay, so yeah, that I guess we could super hang out in that area if the Bucks night was in that area. That would make sense. If it weren't, then we should probably cut the Bucks night. All right. Well then. Well, it's for work. I suppose I must.
Trust me.
Oh, well, then those are the Bucks night and the Hens night are both happening the same night, right?
Yes, the Hens night is at the college campus because it's more sensible for ladies to be,
right,
somewhere guarded and stuff because it's the 70s.
Yes.
So the Bucks night's at the cafe, which is where you're currently sitting.
Yep, we're probably just past the era of panty raids, actually, now that I think about it.
Did you say panty raids?
Yep.
Yes.
That was a thing for a while.
I don't know what that is.
Don't Google that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you already Googled cottaging. Cottaging is, panty raids is vastly more problematic.
Panty raids. All right. Well, keep talking. I know.
Yes. Although the one historical one I'm aware of really just was guys cheering outside of a dorm, an all-girls dorm, while the girls would throw their used underwear out at them.
Yeah.
Which is less weird than some things I've heard of. But,
So long as people are having fun, it's all good.
I think so. I don't know. But the point is that the whole idea of keeping the girls on campus is still, I'm sure, a thing in Oxford at this era.
I'm going to say streetwise. John, if you want to roll streetwise.
Happily. My streetwise is 3, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So 2d6 plus 3.
I'll just roll it and add the modifier after. Oof. That's a whopping 6, including the modifier.
Okay. I get to pick the failure, and the first option is failure leads to immediate trouble. Well, that's kind of what you wanted.
In this case, would failure then mean that the trouble occurs to somebody else and we're too late to stop it or getting any information?
Yeah.
Or the trouble could be the wrong kind of trouble.
Or he just had a bad time at the party.
Went to a party last Saturday night, didn't get laid, and I got in a fight. It ain't no big thing.
But that was the plan.
No, actually, it wasn't the plan. The plan was for me to get attacked by whatever is attacking students. It's a Lita Ford song. That's not a plan.
Okay. So, it's disturbingly quiet as you're wandering around. When you get back to the shop, your home, So I presume Professor Vennings would head home at a certain hour.
I thought that we would be staying there to basically wait until someone got attacked.
Right.
Okay. So after like 3 hours of wandering around, nothing's happened.
Yeah, and it's not like any of these any of the boys left the bar like when it closed. They presumably left like at a decent human hour to leave the bar.
Yeah, most of them did because
So-
a lot of them are planning on going to the protests the next day. So they.
Right. hmm So I mean the victims, right? They didn't leave the bars at like bar closing time either. I'm assuming.
Yes, they did. They stayed late.
Oh, they did actually. So we have to do this late at night. Okay.
Right. I'm going to go back to my flat, take a nap, and then come back when it's later.
You do that, Professor. I will. I'll mind the fort. It's a tough job and thirsty work. And I wave for another pint.
Your dedication to blending in is admirable.
Thank you. I'm glad you noticed. I do try to keep up appearances.
You are professional.
Haley, are you staying with John or going with the
Oh, I'm
professor?
staying with John. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I figure that if he wanders out, I can stay nearby, but in badger form, and keep an ear out for trouble and a nose out for Jasmine.
And I mean, that just helps me blend in because it just looks like I'm chatting up another college student.
Oh, gosh.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just Vettings will come back basically around. When do pubs close?
It's probably like 10 at night.
Your volume, your mic suddenly, the quality suddenly dropped.
All right. 10 at
Much
night.
better. Oh, the pubs close at 10?
Yeah, it's like a Wednesday night, so.
Oh, okay. Then Vettings won't go home to take a nap unless it's far before 10 o'clock. I thought it might be like a 2 a.m. situation.
Nah. So it hits 10. They kick people out. There's not much happening.
Well, yes, Vettings will stay up until 20 hours.
One upshot about people being able to drink in England earlier is that they get all their binge drinking done before college.
Yeah.
Could I have Vettings perhaps be in her vulture form, just to like to look to around the area to like see if someone's getting attacked?
Yep. You can have a fly around. It's not foggy. It is cold, but yeah, you're basically kicked out of the pub because they're closing time. It's quiet.
All right. Well, she'll take breaks and rest next to a warm stovepipe or something, and then continue.
All right. When you're outside, Haley, you do pick up the smell of jasmine.
I'm going to go hunting. Let me see. What do I got that's good for that? Not a whole lot. Oh, awareness. Probably is the closest thing.
Awareness, I think.
So awareness +2 because I probably can. Well, I can sneak out the window of the washroom.
Yep.
We've
been kicked out of the pub at this point, so you just duck down an alley and.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Easy enough. Yep. And then
That's like 11 at night.
Yeah, so I'll get the +2 from being in badger form. And I have to get the thing up. I didn't have the dice room open. So I have an 8.
Okay. Yeah, the smell of jasmine, you can follow that. You end up back at the shop.
Back at the shop.
Yep.
Is it coming from inside the shop?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go in and see if Aisling is okay.
Are you still in
yeah.
badger form?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, Aisling's there, sort of reading at the counter. She's got a book and doing some studying.
Is there the smell of jasmine inside the shop?
Yeah, it's not like super strong, but it is recent, and it's in a few places. Aisling will, hey Haley, chuck you a little biscuit or cookie.
Mm-hmm. All right, I will take the biscuit and eat it, and then I will shift back so I can converse with Aisling and ask, who was someone just here? Was a woman just here?
A few people came and didn't buy anything. They just kind of looked around and they headed off. Just a sec.
Sure.
Right, sorry about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Not a problem. I smell jasmine, and I think maybe whoever we're looking for was in here just a little while ago.
Haley's like, oh, what's it? Sorry. Aisling's like, oh, it's being quiet. Yeah, a few people looked around but didn't really get anything. No one's hassled any. It's been fairly quiet the last couple of hours.
Okay. Oh, and you said the last few people in here were any of them women?
Yeah, one of them was.
Can you describe what she was wearing, or otherwise how she looked?
Well, grey pants, a white collared shirt, had a cap on.
Okay.
One of these caps.
Mm-hmm.
I get the camera right. Yep.
Right. So she, and she looked like a one of the students thereabouts, or more like a professor
No, neither.
or a town.
Someone else. Yeah, just someone in town.
Something else. Okay. All right. Thanks. We'll just keep an eye out. I'm going to go back and check with the others.
I did have a weird feeling she was watching me. Now you mention it. But
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're not the only ones looking for things right now. So I'm heading out in human form to try to meet up with Vennings.
All right. Where's John at this point?
Well, we're talking about what, 10:30, something like that?
It's about 11 now.
11 now. I'm still wandering around, trying to look like I'm going someplace in particular, which is difficult when you're wandering around the same 3-block radius. So I try to make it look like I'm heading into a flat or heading toward a flat. I'm still not getting attacked, and it's getting kind of frustrating.
Oh dear.
So I'm curious. Can I use Streetwise to see if anyone in the area appears to be kind of a lookout or something like that?
Well, there's a vulture up in the building.
Well, but we know that vulture. I'm talking about maybe a lookout for whatever is attacking these people. It's like I already failed my streetwise roll to get attacked, but I'm wondering if I can notice anything in the area that seems out of place. Like read a sitch, spot something out of place, that sort of thing. Like, is there anything that seems abnormal that would explain why I'm not getting attacked? I mean, look at me. I'm delicious. I've got a little bit of lager in me. We know that 2 of the 3 students were drinking a little bit. I'm dressed like a student. I actually have a little bit of muscle. I mean, that makes for the best eating. Why is this thing not attacking me? Whatever it is.
Okay.
Is that an okay I can roll a streetwise, or okay you're thinking of what to do next? Okay. I'll go ahead and roll.
Yeah, roll streetwise. It's been long enough.
That is 8 plus 3. So that's an 11.
Okay. Professor Vennings notices someone walking towards John, whistling on a street corner. And from your vantage point, you can see when they go past the street light, they don't have a shadow or a reflection on the ground.
Ah, that's worthy of all. Once I notice that, I'll immediately post haste go to. How quickly do I transform? I'm still not quite clear on my transformation.
We can say 10 seconds.
Oh, all right. And clothing or no clothing?
Oh, because you're choosing to do it, then you've got your clothing.
All right. I will transform in my modest way, and then if I can imagine, I see the person without a shadow, and then Mr. Hardesty, maybe I can walk up to Mr. Hardesty, like transform and wave over Mr. Hardesty. No, not wave over. I'm sorry. I'd walk along and have a quiet conversation with Mr. Hardesty, so as to not.
So you wander down next to him. He hears someone approaching rapidly.
I guess I was hoping it would be more subtle than that. But
you didn't have time because you were changing. And the person
you're right. I do. Yes, I would do that. I'd give him a heads up.
Could I make a suggestion?
Are we in character now?
Just meta level, player to player.
All right.
What if we worked out like a signal system beforehand, so you could stay in werevulture form and follow this thing if it gets away from me? So you could like caw or something like that, or make some sort of bird call, and it's like, oh, okay, it's on.
Right. Yeah. If we had this worked out ahead of time, I'd just stay in form and like do whatever my signal is, like with my claw or tap dance or whatever. Morse code tap dance. Which I don't know, wouldn't be a crazy way of doing it if you're an intelligent beast without vocal cords. Sure, I'll stay in my vulture form, land near John, and do my tap tap
Yep.
tap signal, and then like I guess look in the direction to indicate that there's.
He can hear something, so the tap tap lets him know, hey, there's something special about this person.
Sure. Because ideally, I would like to stay, like, follow to see where this creature goes.
Yep. All right.
And How far away would it be to get Haley, to inform Haley? I don't know if I could do that and still track this
And
person.
I'm on the way
time.
back from somewhere that
Yeah.
you don't know, so
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I wouldn't
I'll
know.
arrive when I arrive.
Got it. Okay.
All right.
In that
So
case,
this
I'll
person,
continue
this
watching.
person makes a grab for John. John, make an awareness check.
If I remember correctly, I'm not. Yeah, I've got awareness 1. I'm not terribly aware. In this case, we'll say it's because of the logger. Maybe I had 1 or 2 too many.
Once my character sees John getting attacked, I would,
I don't even notice. That's a 3 plus 1. So maybe I had too much logger to pick up on your tap dancing.
Okay.
It was a good plan. You did it right. I'm just. I mean,
Was that kickball change?
Oh, sorry.
yeah, it was just. I was just really committed to the character, to accurately portraying a student.
If you can roll melee, please, John.
Yeah. Let's see how well this goes. So that is 6, and I think my melee is 2. Yeah, melee is 2.
Okay.
So 8 total.
All right. So you take 5 points of damage as she sort of grabs you, chucks you on the ground with one hand, and with her fingers just like in your guts, you're bleeding in the stomach.
And that's endurance, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I've got 4 endurance left.
So substantial stomach wound.
Yeah, that's not great.
And you would notice she's quick and strong. You get to have your turn now.
And it is, in fact, a woman.
Yes,
that correct?
No, it looks like a female human.
It currently looks like a woman. Whatever it is in the
Yep.
shape of a woman. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any chance that I could do a lore roll really quick to see if this matches anything that I'm aware of or that I've heard about?
Sure, but it will make it harder because you're kind of in an extreme circumstance.
Yeah, I'm bleeding.
Yep.
So that is 7 plus 2 is 9.
Yeah, from what you've read in the lore, demons are generally sort of half insubstantial, so this is either a ghoul or a vampire.
Didn't go directly for the neck, so that suggests ghoul.
Yeah, so you're trying to figure out what you're doing while you're struggling with this person. Professor Vennings, would you like to do something?
Probably panic, honestly. I'm not sure Vennings is a very melee-oriented person.
I mean, there's bricks up there. You can just drop a brick on them or something.
I feel compelled to remind Vennings that Bartholomew is also around at this point.
Yep.
And that it is perhaps the case that a ghost might be effective against an undead. Who knows? These are uncharted waters.
That's a really good point.
You can try it.
That is something Professor Vennings would think of. Yeah, I don't think attacking is her thing. So yes,
not getting your hands dirty.
Well, exactly. That's
Right,
the
so
lower
roll
classes.
plus law.
Roll plus what?
Law. To
Lore.
request Bartholomew intercede on your behalf.
Sure. Let me find out what my lore is really quick. 4. Wow. Okay.
It's kind of hovering there, like, you want me to do what?
If Bartholomew was there, I'd be reminiscing about bygone days, how gentlemen used to be gentlemen. An 8 with including my modifier, so that was a lousy roll. 1 plus 3 plus 4.
All right, he's like to tips his hat and you owe me for this, lady. And he runs up and shoves the lady, and his hands kind of go through her, and she looks really pissed off and just turns around and is like, and you see the enlarged upper canines. But it did distract her.
I'm
When I
curious.
got there. But
do you have like a
I've-
bag or a suitcase or something, John? Like a
Um,
backpack, or do you just
not.
carry stuff in your pockets?
I think I just carry stuff in my pocket. I mean, especially with this, I think I would have just like tried to go light.
Yeah.
But one thought
super
I'm
quick. The stuff her hands kind of blur, and there's stuff in your pockets that wasn't there before. That's her action. What are you doing?
I'm wondering if Bart possessed me, would that do anything to my melee modifier or give me any kind of advantage?
You don't know. You hadn't got around to discussing that yet.
So I think what I'm going to do while I'm laying there and bleeding, I'm just going to say, hey, Bart, if you want to possess me, this would be a real good time for it.
You know what? Maybe hearing that, Vennings would go for being possessed, because that might be a better interface, and so.
So both of you are going, Bart, come on in if you want.
Bart's like, I've never done fighting before. Who knows? We'll find out.
What could go wrong? What could go more wrong, I suppose I should say.
All right.
I mean, Mander, if you want to have Bart possess you, and I mean,
Yes, I think Vennings is into being possessed. Plus, she has a non-damaged body.
yeah, I mean, I can lay there and bleed for a while. It's no big. And this is actually just Friday night. It's just
You're
unusual.
still you're in vulture form, aren't you?
Oh, I'd transform into
Right, so
human
you're-
form.
All right. So that's going to take some time.
So no possessed werevulture. Got it.
Or this might be a time for going naked. Do it quick.
Okay, so a naked professor leaps down next to John's bleeding body and starts doing pugilist style fights against the female creature.
Bartholomew, this is a man's work.
So
I just rolled.
yeah. I wonder if she just snuck a book into your pocket.
So Bartholomew is obviously not used to human naked form doing, old style fisticuff fighting, and trips over John's body and slips on some of the blood on the cobblestones. Haley, this seems like a good time for you to show up.
All right, I will show up on the scene. Do I? I'm trying to remember. What is the rule for partially shifting? Because I'm going to exude badger claws.
Yep. Okay, you can do that.
Okay, then I will come there with my hands elongating into large-sized badger paws with the huge digging claws on it.
All right,
And I will,
roll melee.
Yep. All right, so I am good at this. In fact, I'm probably gooder at this than anything else. Because I have a specialty with claws. Do I get a +2 from the badger as well? I'm asking. I don't know.
I know, but it's a funny sentence. No.
Yes. No. Okay. So, all right. So that just means a +5. So. So that is, I didn't do the plus, sorry. Be a 12.
Yep. Which is actually enough to actually stop her. All right, she goes to do the same thing to slice your guts with her sharp nails, and you manage to stop her because you're just strong as you swole. Okay. And she goes to flee. It's John's turn. John, what are you doing?
I think since we've established that there's blood on the ground and it's slippery, and that I'm on the ground and in the way, I'm just going to try to roll so that I'm at this critter's feet so it trips when it goes over.
That's athletics.
Alrighty. So I have nothing in athletics. So let's see. I'm basically rolling flat then.
Yep.
I may not to drink so much when I'm doing something like a stakeout next time.
You must be in character.
Boxcars, or not boxcars, snake eyes. The opposite of boxcars. So I literally rolled a 2. Only way I could do worse is if I had a penalty.
So she's bolting down the alley. Haley and Professor Bennings, do you want to do something?
I would transform back and try to track from the air.
So can I spend a
Okay.
will with always prepared to have been holding in my hands some twine while we were doing exchanging clawy cuffs, so that she's actually caught on something? I've always prepared. I know it's kind of like I should have done that before, but I'm not sure when before.
It's more that you said you
Yeah,
just
this
changed
is
your
true.
hands to badger
Yeah,
claws, so it's like,
Okay, that's fine. So instead,
But you can get a good whiff of her, and it was definitely her with the jasmine smell.
okay. So is she running by me?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, she had to run by me at some point, right? Because I was fighting.
Yeah, you were there, and she sort of stepped over him. And
So
just
as
started
she
running.
runs,
really quick.
is there a window for me to pull out a can of spray paint and spray her clothing at least with it?
No, because she's running faster than that
Okay.
stuff coming out of there. But you can throw it at her.
Okay, so basically the only option I really have is to chase her.
You can chase her or throw something at her.
I mean, okay.
You can throw hard.
I'm trying
You're
to.
strong.
Well, okay. I guess that's right. I mean, what is throwing? Is throwing shoot or melee?
I think it's shoot.
Okay, then I'm not very good at throwing things. So I would probably want to run after her. If I don't really trust myself. I mean, also I badger claws still.
Yep.
So
All right. So you're
throwing
running
is not
after
something
her.
I'm going to be good at. So I'm going to run after her. Yeah. Yeah. I that's about all I can do. Let me know if I need to make an athletics check or if it's just I'm keeping after her.
You're keeping after her. Professor Venning, did you want to do first aid on John, or? Oh no, you were going up on the thing. Well, actually, he can try it on himself.
I do have first aid, or at least I should say I have medicine. This would
so you
not
can
be
roll
my.
that.
Yeah. Well, let the professor go first.
If John's not going to immediately die, then I'd actually transform back into a
You will
vulture and
transform
track.
into do the recon. Okay. All right. So you, Vennings and Haley are both following the lady. She's running pretty damn fast. All right, actually, we'll do your first aid roll first there, John. Don't roll medicine.
Sure thing. That is an 8.
Okay. All right. So you stop yourself bleeding. You don't get anything back, but you're not getting worse.
That's all I wanted to do. Stop the bleeding.
Okay. If Haley wants to do athletics and Professor Vennings wants to do awareness.
Seven for awareness.
All right, so you've lost her for a moment because she's ducked down an alley or under something. You can't see her and it's dark. You can still hear people running though, so they're kind of in this area.
Are we waiting on something?
So Haley got 10,
11.
11.
This is a plus
Okay.
one. Maybe I need to figure out how to add modifiers for that.
Okay. So the lady will stop and just say, piss off, socialist filth, and she'll attack you. Roll melee.
To whom?
To Haley.
Got it. Rolling. So only a 9.
Right. Okay. Just one. Damn. Yoicks. All right, so 6 points of damage as she smacks you against the wall and slices into your chest with her hand. However, you've got athletics, so out of your 9 points, you've taken 6 points of damage. She sliced your chest open. Are you going to? Professor Vennings can hear them fighting, so you can get closer.
Yeah, I'll continue tracking.
All right. All right. She goes to make a break for it again. Are you going to try and stop her, or what are you doing now, Haley?
I guess I'm not sure what exactly. Did she throw me against a wall or something? Or
Yeah, she threw you up against a wall and just rakes your chest with her claws.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's going to try and make a break for it. You can grab her or just not. You could use your frightening musk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think.
Now you can do your
Is
string
there
around her
if I sorry?
Now you can do your string around her if you want.
Well, because I have to spend a will to activate the always prepared. I'm trying to think of what always prepared to use.
We can say as you're running, you are getting the string ready, and then.
Okay.
But you don't have to. It's just an option.
Right. Yeah. So if while she's attacking me, I'm entangling her.
Okay.
And then I'll probably will spray her with the musk too, because why not? Because if she's terrified, it's going to be a whole lot less effective for her to escape. So yeah. So that's 1 point of will, and tied up and frightened. So I believe that is, to look that up again, what frightening does. I believe I get, oh, it's a taunt attack. Yeah. So
causing them to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Okay, so she's
that
focusing
is an
on
11
getting yikes. Yep.
because I get the
Alright,
+2
she's
on my taunt attack for the due to the stench.
Well, she already doesn't like you anyway.
Oh, but
That's
the point
easy.
is, like, I'm trying to have her freak out, right?
Yeah, she's going to make mistakes. She's
while
trying
she's
to get out of it.
entangled.
Yeah, trying to get unentangled.
Mhm.
Professor Vettings can sort of drop down closer to the area, so you can get into melee or get into watching thing. What do you want to do?
I imagine as a vulture, being sliced would be instantly fatal, so I'll get close enough to track without being noticed.
Okay. John, you've sort of patched yourself up as best you can. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to see if I can follow them down the alley and see what's going on. Maybe see if I can help Haley. Because I'm pretty sure I heard at least a yelp of pain or something like that from that claw.
They're about 2 blocks away, but there's not a lot of other noise at the minute. So.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I'm basically heading toward Haley, but I don't think that's... I feel like that's probably my action for the turn.
Yeah. Okay. She goes first, but she's busily untangling herself. Haley, what are you up to? It's dark. It's cold.
I feel like I'm going to try to use my claws to at least take some of the fight out of her. If that makes sense.
Yep.
And since she's entangled, yeah. Well, in any case.
Yeah, she'll fight less effectively. Yep.
Yeah. So I am going to give that a shot. Oh, sorry. I need to. Well, it doesn't seem to use that at all. Okay, so I have a 15.
All right. I think I'm pretty sure it's just a D6 damage.
Oh, for the badger claws.
Yes.
I do not know how combat works in this game. So
yeah, just a D6.
Mm-hmm. Roll a D6. Okay. I'm trying to get it to do that. Okay. 5.
Okay. All right. It didn't go as deep into her flesh as you would have liked, but she does seem hurt and annoyed.
My main goal here, as I said, is to sort of impair her ability to fight back, not necessarily to kill her.
Yeah. She was trying to get away from it, but it did hurt her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're just watching Professor Vettings?
Trying to not draw attention. Yes.
Okay. Give me another one. Wow. She completely fails to get unentangled from your string. It's not her night at all. All right.
You need to twine to wrap up packages so that the people who have delivery orders can get their stuff appropriately.
Even
together.
with a considerable strength, it's nope. So she would be breaking through it, but yeah, she hasn't finished breaking through it this round. So
right, it's bits of twine are snapping, but still.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do something, Haley?
I mean, I feel like at this stage, I kind of just need to stop her before she kills me.
You want to knock her out or just wound her?
I mean, if I can knock her out, like that's what I mean, knock her out or immobilize her or otherwise just like, I'm not, my goal is not to kill her. My goal is to end this fight.
Well, she does. She's breaking through the twine. She does appear to have hearing and senses, so you could think, well, therefore she's got a brain, therefore I can knock her out, smack her head against the wall.
Yeah, I can definitely try that.
All right, so melee.
Would that still be the regular melee claws, or I mean, I'm using the claws to do it? Okay. So here we go. Only a 9.
Okay, not enough. So donks her head, and she's out and running again.
Could my character do some like lore equivalent, like see if there's something like what's the character look like? Now I've been staring at this beast for a while. What does my character know about it? Yeah, it has long claws and it looks female, but I'm not sure what else it looks like and what my character would know about it.
Looks like a young female human, is pale. They hissed earlier and had enlarged upper canines.
I
would say you would know this is a vampire, not a ghoul. The ghoul generally have bits of flesh popping off.
Yeah, and that whole socialist crack. It's a Tory vampire.
All right. And would my character realize that vampires are not things that humans should typically, unless there's a mob of humans, like stay away from, like combat-wise, we're totally outmatched?
Definitely.
All right. All right. I'll continue to just watch and and hope. And I don't know. There's no way I can tap dance this information to Haley to realize Haley's gonna get killed.
Well, it's trying to run away at this point, so.
All right. All right.
Yes, and she's been musked at this point.
Wow, mission accomplished. Look for a smelly coffin.
Basically, yes. So if you want to like come down and start like do bird wing semaphore to communicate to me this is a vampire, then and I should just hold off. I will continue chasing her.
I don't think I could do that in character. I think I'm gonna just
semaphore is a deeply traditional form of communication that is an intrinsic part of the British naval tradition, and so your use of semaphore is in keeping with your like long association with the core of British society. Like, there's no reason that you should feel embarrassed whatsoever doing semaphore.
I think it's.
I feel like the player's trying to roll persuasion.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, okay. So fair enough. If I don't have that information, I will probably attempt to pursue, but I am also hurting a lot.
Yeah, you're also hurting a lot.
So I'm not going to be able to pursue as effectively as I did before.
So as she runs off, you can see John comes out on the other end of the alley. He's also wounded.
I just yell, "Haley, stop! Teeth!" Hoping that'll be enough to communicate, irregular teeth. Because otherwise, why would I yell teeth at you?
This is Britain.
I mean, I will stop because you say stop, right? The rest of that's sort of unnecessary. Okay. Also, as I said, I have musked her. I ought to be able to track her down more easily later.
Right.
Honestly, so should Venix. Because being able to detect, because if you think a badger's aromatic sensors are good, the olfactory sensors on a vulture finding a rotting corpse or something that smells a heck of a lot like a rotting corpse.
Yeah, she smelled
and
good.
Especially a musky corpse.
Yes. So you should have a pretty easy time tracking down
Well,
this
she
vampire.
smelled good to the professor before the mask.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Understood. Well, in
So-
any case, well, I'm going to stop. We can converse.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So is it the vampire is now running off?
She's ran off.
Oh,
Okay.
Professor Vettings will continue to pursue while in vulture form has been trying to not draw attention to the fact that she's pursuing this vampire.
And I'm just gonna try to get up to Haley and. Oh God, you're a mess. Here, let's see. Let's just get the bleeding stopped. We're gonna have to get stitched up. So 2d6 plus 1. Please let this be a good roll for once. Hard rolling like crap.
Hold on. I can have a first aid kit.
You can.
Always prepared.
Okay.
I just
Well-
spend a will and I have a reasonable item.
So I rolled an 8. What would a first aid kit do? Would that add another die or add bonus or?
No, just if you get over 8, in this case, you would get a D6 endurance back.
Okay. So basically, I rolled 8 plus 1, so that's 8 on the dice plus 1 for the medicine. So the first aid kit. There you go.
Awesome. I mean, you've already been first aided. It's not possible to like do that. Try that. For me to help you out.
No,
I'm asking.
no, you
Okay.
could go to hospital.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go to the hospital. We both need stitches.
Right. Do you want to roll a d6?
Well, you're the one regaining the hit points, shouldn't you roll?
Oh, I was just asking.
Besides, I don't trust my rolls tonight. See?
All right.
Look at
I am up 5, so I am almost fully restored.
It's got to be because you're a werebadger. Us humans, we aren't as lucky.
I'm assuming that the werebadger has a lot to do with this too. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
So
get you
you're
to the
going-
Let's get you to the. There's a word for the emergency room. I forget what it's called.
Accident and emergency or intensive care. No, it wouldn't be intensive care. Just
Yeah,
All right,
no,
so you go to the hospital.
A&E. Yeah, accident and emergency. Yep. Now my I have some friends in Britain who drive ambulance. So
Yeah, Annie.
All right.
so let's get you the A&E.
And I look at you and say, "Sorry about the shirt. I don't think this is
It's fine.
I don't know. Maybe Bart would like it. I mean, it's ripped open. I mean, maybe he could do something with it to make it look suggestive. Like, I don't know. Might not
There
be
probably
complete.
is a punk club in there is probably a punk club in town somewhere.
1970.
Yeah.
1970 would have. You'd have had pub bands like Graham Parker. Punk came
okay.
along.
Just
76,
Stones are-
77.
Yeah, Stones are around.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
did the professor go to the hospital or did she go back home for the night?
A professor would be tracking the vampire to wherever the vampire goes.
Okay, so it's awareness.
Looking at my stat,
Nothing.
nothing. Rolling 2d6. 12.
All right. You would have seen her go into a sewer grate.
Sorry, looking at the chat, hucking the bad rolls. For the sewer grate, I would staying in vulture form, kind of land where the grate is and cautiously approach it, and trying to get close enough to be outside of claw distance of the grate and listen and look.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's a dark, narrow alley. They just went into it and closed it after them. So,
Are
yep,
do I
it's
hear
quiet.
footsteps?
Sound of someone climbing or moving, but they're moving away from you.
Okay, like there's a passage that they're going underground traveling through.
Yep. Yep.
Um, having been in the air, what would the geography be like? I'm guessing this is, oh gosh,
It's about 5 blocks
I don't
from where.
know. Say again?
It's about 5 blocks from where the attacks were.
Right. Um, is this might be too wonky, but do I know whether or not this city has separate sanitary and drain sewage systems?
There'd all be one, but they're old. They've been developed over 200 years or whatever.
Okay, so combined system. Um, uh, uh,
And there are tunnels that go from the sewage to the river.
right, that's what I was thinking. I'd probably just go back in the air and like see what I can see. See if someone's coming out of something. I don't want to pursue in vulture or human form a vampire.
All right, so after about a sort of an hour looking around, no, it's a very quiet night.
All right, well, I guess I'll check back on the lads and see how they're doing.
Right, so they went to the hospital, and
Yeah, I might think to check there, considering their wounds. So yeah,
yeah,
I'd
yeah, well,
eventually.
they would have told you they're going there. All right, should we have a 5 minute bio break or 10 minute bio break?
Sure.
Yeah, I could use a break.
That's fine.
All right, no
Oh,
worries.
so 5 or 10?
We'll go 10.
All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Are we all back? I think you're muted, Blake, or your mic is off.
I don't think we're all back, no. Okay.
All right. I'm curious, Blake, you seem to GM an awful lot of the Gauntlet. Do you prefer strongly GMing versus playing?
No, it's more times that all the player slots are already filled, so I don't get the chance to play. I'm happy to play, but yeah.
That's a good question, Blake. What time in the U.S. is usually good for you to play? Like, because I've got a more flexible schedule, and I try to set up games for people who are who aren't getting a lot. Usually it's for the EU, UK people, but you can always try to run one for Australia.
So it would be 6 hours ago. So that would be like 10 in the afternoon, New York time, I guess.
10 a.m. or 10 p.m.
10 a.m.
AM, yeah, AM is morning.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so that would be midnight here. So I just stay up late, and yeah, that's easy enough.
Okay. You know what? What I'm not asking for what city you live in, but what city is in the same time zone as you? Because that way I can just look it up on World Clock and it'll tell me.
Oh, I can tell you, I'm in Adelaide.
Okay.
I'm happy to play or run, whatever, but it's, there's always plenty of people looking for games, so if you're not in quickly, it's like, oh, damn, it's filled up already.
Yeah. Is it easier for you to play in the morning or the evening?
Evening.
Okay. So like
everybody's back.
You want what kind of start time is good for you? Like 9, 10 o'clock?
Yeah, 10
you
at night,
you have
fine.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's something I'm always thinking about. It's like, what time do the kids go to bed? That sort of thing. So I will see what I can do about that.
No worries. Okay, so the professor catches up with the other two at the hospital. You've been fixed up by the nurses there. Doesn't Haley work there? No, Aisling works there. So, but she's not there. She's at the shop. Okay,
This probably isn't my first visit to the A&E department. And they're probably used to me coming in, like, holding my side because, I got stabbed or something like that. None of it has done really bad damage, but, it's just, they're used to stitching me up and they're probably saying, oh, what happened to you this time? Did you walk into the wrong end of a lead pipe?
Alrighty. You get fixed up at the hospital.
Do I roll for recovering hit points with that?
Yeah, just a D6.
D6, okay. Alrighty, 1d6. All right, that's a 3. Not bad.
So I was just laughing at the anonymous grizzly bear, anonymous dragon, and anonymous narwhal. Dear. Alrighty. So it's like 2 in the morning now. You're welcome to stay in the hospital bed until morning, or you can stagger home now. It's up to you two.
I'm thinking we head back to the office. What do you think? Mendel?
It's up to how you're feeling, honestly. So if you want to go back to the office, we can. I do have a party to throw tomorrow night, though.
Yeah.
And I figured hopefully we'll be able to locate this this creature in the daytime. So maybe we should attempt that when it's more opportune.
And I think with that, I'll say, you have an excellent point. And I'll look at one of the nurses and say, is there any chance you can get me a little bit more of that Demerol? And I'll wink. And just pass the rest of the night in the hospital.
All right. Vennings is willing to, if you can, pull up a chair and get a blanket or something, have a nap, or you can go back home again or whatever. It's up to you.
Oh, sorry. Well, since you fellows look all sorted out, I'll return to my flat and get proper rest. And I'll just do that.
Okay. So,
I am curious to know what happens when you do transform from slowly to keep your clothes, quickly so you don't have your clothes, and then back again. I might have had to pick up some clothes somewhere. I don't know what happens to...
Yeah, you would have on the way to the hospital.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll cut to sort of mid-morning. You find yourselves wandering back to the shop. It's up to Professor Feddings whether they're with you or not. You've had some rest, obviously, from like 2 to 10 or whatever.
I think I'll join up the shop.
Okay. You're in the shop. There's a bunch of policemen there. And there's like 6. And looking at all the stuff, they're questioning Aisling, and they don't want to talk to the professor, but they do want to talk to John Haley.
What the devil happened?
There's been reports of suspect objects and contraband and stuff at this shop, so they've taken a bunch of stuff in bags, and they want to report, sort of how long have you been selling this sort of stuff. And
Contraband? What the hell are you talking about?
well, they give you a big speech, but basically it boils down to stuff that's not considered in the view of British society.
Right.
Books.
John, did you go through your pockets before you left the hospital? That's
actually a good point. Yeah, if we can, I'd like to retcon that and actually go through my pockets and find out if there's any.
I'd like to think you're smart enough not to pull it out right then in front of the cops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she did plant something on you, and you knew that.
I'd completely forgotten about that. Thanks for the reminder.
Yes. I was going to bring it up. I just, because it happened right after the break, I completely forgot.
So what did this entity put in my pocket?
It's a book by John Engels and Karl Marx, known as the Communist Manifesto. The English version, of course.
Yeah, I would have dropped that in the trash. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, labor, all that.
In the biohazard trash.
I mean,
sorry.
I don't know about the biohazard trash, but it would have wound up in some sort of bin. Probably whichever one I thought was most appropriate at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention it to Haley?
Right.
Not in front of the cops.
No. Because this was back in the hospital. I thought we were saying this
happened.
Yeah.
When I fish it out and I kind of look at Haley, and it's like, did you check your pockets?
I mean, I probably will too at that point. I will mention that my friend in the hospital, he had a book that he really wouldn't have had.
He's like down the hall.
Right, so we can go and check it. Yeah, I mean, so I'll go and sort of check. Maybe ask him about the book too.
He's asleep, so you can have a
forget
quick look
what the
in his
name of that
backpack.
one was. It wasn't.
I'll just rifle through it.
Julian.
Oh yeah. I saw it in his backpack before, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so he had a collection of stories by Anton Chekhov.
Right. Which seemed out of place, but that's not contraband though.
And I look at it, it's like,
Mm,
At least I don't know. That may be.
in combination with other things, yeah.
Okay, then I will disappear that book for him.
and I just look at
and
Haley
as
at
I
this
said,
point.
I feel like a biohazard bin is safer.
Probably. I mean, they're less likely to pull. I mean, they're not going to pull it out because it's in a biohazard bin. But
I don't know that they had proper biohazard bins, but they've got to
They
have
had
a sharps
sharps.
container somewhere.
Yeah, sharps container, yeah.
and I just look at Haley and say,
Yeah. So like the big
what the
sharps
hell?
bin.
Is this a Russian thing or is it a Marxist thing? I mean, are we chasing a communist
No, she was
vampire?
She's a Tory vampire. She's teeth.
Yeah, she hissed
Right?
at the
Tory.
socialist
You
filth.
said teeth.
Yeah, but a Tory vampire. I mean,
Right. Yeah. So she's trying to she's trying to get she's trying to frame students for being communists.
seditious behavior.
Okay, so yeah, they get a report from each of you, and it's long, and it's basically, where have you been, what towns have you lived in, what schools have you been to, who have you been in contact with, where did you get this stuff?
Right. Yeah, no, but we'll just, I mean...
And they don't kind of piss off until you've
answered
every
we can
question.
just tell the cops that we were assaulted by a woman? Could we just tell the cops that we were assaulted by a woman who was planting the Communist Manifesto on people?
That would be charm.
I mean, we are both
charm.
stitched up. Hang on a second. Let me see. Do I have I think I have some charm. I have one in charm.
Right.
Because
we are not
need
charming.
to investigate your shop and you guys. So if you guys decide, oh no, we were attacked and this is planted, they're going to be suspicious.
So let me ask you this.
True. Well,
Since
that's what I'm. That's more the like. Yeah.
Aisling has 2 charm. And Aisling's at the shop, right?
Yes.
So if we want to go that route,
Aisling tries to help, but it's very nervous.
because I mean, my reaction is going to be, we're not a goddamn bookseller. We sell crisps. I don't know how that stuff got here. Sawed off.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff from Russian authors, music from Russian composers, stuff on philosophy, which is basically socialism, basically everything that isn't the traditional English way.
And I'll just look at the officers and say,
it was all planted in your shop.
And I'm just going to look at them and say, do I look like I read? And I will literally pull up the shirt and show them the slash wound and say, I got this last night when I was attacked. I'm a private investigator. I want people to pay us. Do I look like a communist?
Well, you're still wearing that shirt that had a student shirt on, didn't you?
No, I think I changed into like some sort of like the Hosni.
We
I
decided
would have
not
been
to go with the protest shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. So roll with empathy then.
No, you just wanted to do a casual shirt. You weren't trying to go with a real protest movement shirt.
I'm curious, since I'm dealing with the cops and I'm kind of like confronting them a little bit. Do you think Streetwise might count?
No, okay. It's empathy in this case.
Okay. We had to ask. That is 10 on the dice plus empathy of 2.
Okay, so
that's 12.
They don't take you down to the station. They just take reports from you. And, they took all the contraband stuff, which you guys are pretty sure wasn't there to start with. someone planted it here. Because as you said, it's mostly knickknacks and stuff. It's not a bookshop or a record shop.
Does it smell like jasmine?
And we know that she was in the store.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yes. Haley would have noticed that.
yeah. I just didn't know she'd planted anything in the process. And Aisling,
Aisling says, we need to talk about security because if that thing was in here.
And I look around and I say, Fennings, you know where that thing lives, right?
Well, I saw where it went underground.
So all we have is somewhere underground.
And smelling of musk.
Okay, that'll be relatively easy to track.
Okay, the police leave, and you can hear them talking about they've got CBs in their car, which are blaring, and they're talking about there's some student protest, so a bunch of them bugger off to go and deal with the protest.
Fucking fascists. Why should they care what we read? I mean, don't get me wrong. About all I'm going to read is, shit, I don't know, Dan Dare or something, but do I look like I'd be reading that? Do I look like a philosopher? Do I look like I'd have a copy of the Communist Manifesto around?
You look utterly bereft of any scholastic interest.
Thank you. I don't know what bereft means, but that sounded like a positive. It sounded like a compliment. Thank you.
I'm supporting you in your perceptions.
So who wants to go to a sewer?
Let me put on my old shoes first.
Now, you don't necessarily have to, because there's going to be a couple of parties with a bunch of students in it, so it might come back to you anyway.
I believe the daytime is the best time.
Break definitely didn't go so great.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could say, bugger this, we're leaving town.
But
No, this is my town. Just so, a quick question. I took the ability personal awards last time.
Mm-hmm.
Can I use that on other people? Can I give everyone a award, for example?
I don't think so. I think you can do it on areas, though.
Or an object you carry.
Okay. So for basically 2 willpower, you can ward the shop.
Why did you not carry a personal ward last night?
Well, you got to set it up in advance.
Yeah. Look, when they were stitching me up in the hospital last night, I was just thinking that I needed to tell all of you to remind me to actually use my wards.
Okay.
So the next time we do something like this, just say, "Hey, John, that whole ward thing you do? Maybe you should do that before we go do this."
If I'd known you had something like that, holy moly, that could have changed a lot of things.
It would have gone down a lot differently, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you can ward the shop if you want.
Right. Well, the personal wards, if you carry that around, then you can
I can discharge it at will.
Attacks you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be attacked, but she attacked you.
Oh, actually, so with personal wards, it discharges if anyone hurts me. So it triggers there, but it can also be discharged with a word of command at a target.
Ooh, nice. That is beautiful.
So I think the first thing to do, and I think that this is largely a discussion we all have, is figuring out what the hell this thing is. Because we've seen the teeth, we've seen the claws, and I mean, that basically means vampire, right?
Yes. We were seemingly spared that the vampire chose to leave behind some literature rather than wish to do us truly. The goal was not harm, it seems.
I look at my stitches. I said, wow, that's a funny way to fail at a goal, but okay.
Well, you weren't properly appreciative of the literature.
No, she
It
hurt
attacked
all
me.
the other people that she attacked as well.
Yeah, it attacked me and it stuck something in my pocket. I mean, I'm not going to say thank you.
Well enough. I for one, am sorry to see the books from Anton Chekhov be taken away. They're quite good.
So, what do we know about vampires in terms of things that will harm them?
Before we go directly to harm, perhaps we ought to consider this as a political statement and approach it as one might a discussion about philosophy and politics and economics. Perhaps going to try to harm someone is a last resort.
You're going to try and have a debate off?
I'm just saying, I would prefer to say, hey, maybe stop attacking students and have the vampire say, sure, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't we go for a pint and settle it peacefully? But if you look at the shape that Haley's in and you look at the shape that I'm in, the vampire didn't talk. It attacked. I want some defenses so that if it attacks us again, we are ready.
Well enough. I agree. In addition to having our debate preparations, we should have physical preparations as well.
The debating is all you. I mean, my debating is going to be, look, I just watch football on the telly. You know, I sure I know some strange things, but nothing quite that weird. You know, I stick with fairies and magic. You know, communism, that's an entirely different level of strangeness to me.
Someone else in the shop will yell, Liverpool, and head out.
What does my character know about vampires and how to defend and whatnot? Maybe I should do a
Let's have
roll.
look. Nah,
All right.
You've got 4. You can know that they don't like sunlight or garlic.
Did any of you chaps eat garlic bread recently?
No, but now that you mentioned it, I am getting hungry.
Well, it's just a thought, perhaps why you were attacked. Perhaps you didn't smell as jasmine. Perhaps we would have a better reception if we were wearing something that smelled like jasmine.
So what you're saying is we should go eat a lot of garlic right now.
If you must, I believe simply having some on your person should suffice.
Yeah, like you're having it in a pocket or hanging from a necklace or something. It's got to be out. Yeah, it's going to be much better than just eating it.
So,
Look, I have seen at least 2 Hammer vampire films. I think we can kid ourselves out pretty easily.
I was just thinking, do we really want to have? Do we want to have some steaks with us? And it's like, no, that seems a little aggressive. You know, garlic on our person, defensive. But you know, bringing steaks with us, that seems a lot more like we're here to kill you as opposed to we're here to talk and ask you to stop attacking students because you know it's rude.
Well, it did attack you before it tried to talk to you, so it's not necessarily friendly right from the outset.
Yeah, no, my feeling on the subject is eventually it's going to kill somebody and not really care. And eventually it might, and in the process, it is actively trying to ruin people's lives. So,
that's a very good point.
So, I mean, I mean, on the moral scale, like, I mean, she is at least as bad as that couple that you trapped in the Feywilds or the Feylands. So, you know.
Yes, but I didn't kill them. I mean, for all we know, they could be having a party in the Fey
I'm not saying that
realm.
we have to kill her. I don't know what staking a vampire does.
God damn it. We got rid of that gate. If we had another gate that we could toss her through, no, that'd actually just be like throwing the garbage from the bin into the Fey realm. No, we don't want to do that too much. That's rude. That's inhospitable and unneighborly. Yes. But you're right. She is at least that bad. So in some way, we should convince her to stop or to, well, stop. Because I don't want to put this problem on another town.
Right. Perhaps, goodness, out of character, it seemed like the NHS, National Health Service, would already be in effect, so they wouldn't actually, would they be getting billed for their hospital visit?
Well, yeah, but they probably wouldn't get it for another day or two. It's only a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
All right.
And by the way, while we're having this conversation, I'm wandering around the shop to set up new wards because apparently the wards that I put on the shop last time didn't do shit. I mean, maybe that was just warding against magicians. Maybe I didn't ward against vampires.
Yeah, you've got to be specific, and yeah, it's fine. You can. I'm not going to get you to roll. You spend time warding the shop against vampires.
And that's what, 2 will?
Yes. Yeah.
Or is
So
that just
while that's waiting, you're down 2 will.
Okay.
Maybe you warded against shoplifting.
How do you get will back, by the way?
Well, they were actually putting stuff on the shelves extra, so
Yeah. This is not shoplifting. This is like shop putting.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Perchance, if we were able to present a bill for the damages that this individual vampire has done, it would respond well to that, since it does not enjoy communism and perhaps respects taking responsibility for one's personal actions if there were consequences, such as being billed for the medical services that are required from her actions. She will be less inclined to do this in the future.
Okay, Professor.
She eviscerated John without saying.
Well, no, my viscera is still very much inside of me. She just she gave them some air. But Professor, I have an idea. I like your idea of a bill. So why don't you go upstairs and work on that on the typewriter? Make sure to bill not just for medical expenses for the students, but also for lost time at the shop, having to inventory the shop. So we need to bill for that labor. I'm having to ward the shop right now, so please put that under professional services rendered. And we're probably going to need to have a solicitor with us because, as we know, Tories respond to being billed for the things that they've done very poorly, so we need to ensure that we can carry out the threat in court. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ward myself, and I'm going to get some garlic, and I'm going to eat some garlic because, if nothing else, I can at least breathe in her face. And Haley, we need to figure out some way of dealing with this because, let's be honest, if it comes down to it, you and I are going to be the ones holding this thing down. The professor, knowledgeable though you are, and you have skill sets aplenty. You're not exactly the physical action end of the spectrum. You're the.
I'm glad you know your place. Yes.
That sounded like less of a compliment than the last time.
I support you in realizing your useful skill set and acting upon it.
I look at you and say, you realize that I can curse you, yes?
That would be rude. You might do it, but I hope better of it.
It would be
curse. Rude. You don't think you could do something with your curse that would actually prevent the vampire from doing, bad things?
And I look at Haley and say, you know what, actually, that's a good question. With the magical skills I have, could I actually curse someone? I've got ward magic and geomancy and personal wards.
Nope, you need blessing and curses for that.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'll turn to Haley and kind of mutter, like at the side of my mouth, I was joking, but don't tell her that.
Yeah, Aisling can do it if you bring the vampire here. Oh, well, you can't because you've warded it against vampires, but if you come and get her, she can, yeah.
Fair enough.
right. Now I just need to find a solicitor who doesn't mind going into the sewers to deliver a bill to a vampire.
Good luck with that.
I think that you're blocked by the I need to find a solicitor willing.
You broke up a little bit there.
I think you're going to run into problems as soon as you try to find a solicitor willing, just full stop. Willing to entertain any of this. So even going into the sewers would be far past what I would expect.
Well, we don't. You chaps, or even I can go with you to deliver, present this bill. The solicitor does not need to come with, and we don't need professional services. It's quite simple when you have someone who. We can just write up a bill and add up the numbers. I'll take care of it.
And I'm going to say,
it's
I'm
just
going
a
to wander
trade
over to our
roll.
chalkboard, like our little noteboard, and I'll write down a note, find a solicitor, and pin it up.
Yes.
Right next to name ?
Yes.
Dear.
I know.
Okay.
I will have to say this much: if you want to convince someone that you are not a closeted communist, giving them a bill is a good way to do it.
So we should bill the police for their coming here this morning and disrupting our business?
Yeah, that we don't need to. They don't. It doesn't matter whether they believe or not that we're. It's only whether they can use that fact to beat our heads in.
Yep.
It really doesn't matter if we are.
This
or
is
not.
brilliant, though. And at this point, I'm looking wide-eyed and probably more than a little off my rocker.
How much
We need-
Demerol are you on right now?
Whatever hasn't worn off. We need to find a solicitor who can deal with the police for us. That is probably something that we can do.
That's actually quite true. Unfortunately.
And
We should-
what is more anti-communist than suing someone?
And then
The
also
moment-
billing them for the time that we had to hire this individual.
Yes.
It is, after all, their fault. The police
None of
came.
this helps these students that you're supposed to be protecting in any way.
Yes. Also, paying job.
Professor Vennings, your expertise, the expertise that we initially consulted with you on, I had no idea you had expertise in so many other areas and would be such a valuable asset to this firm.
Well, I appreciate that, but I assure you, you are going to help me in turn. This is an exchange.
Well, of course.
Okay, so tonight is the hen's night and the buck's night, or the bachelor and the bachelorette's party.
Are we going to try to actually get after the vampire before dark?
I'm okay with that idea.
Yeah,
You-
it's still in the
6 hours?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Just because it seems like it might be a good idea. I'm
Yeah.
just saying because I don't know that if we try to confront the vampire after dark, if it's going to go any better than last time. And John is a little bit squishier than he was before.
Just a little bit. I don't want to pull a stitch or anything like that, but
Right.
if it comes down to it, I'm ready to go.
Professor Vennings will type up a brief bill to present to the vampire, so we don't spend too much time on it. Just the major items and estimates.
Right. And if necessary, and we can't find any other place to secure it, I probably can come up with a blunt implement and a pencil or a pen or
So,
something. and just
what are you actually
hammer it
doing?
into a
it's
opportune
now
object.
midday.
Oh my!
Mhm.
Let's go to that sewer and smell for some musk.
Because vampire, she might not be awake during the day. We might not be able to talk to her, so we might just have to leave the bill somewhere.
Okay.
It's sunlight though, so the vampire should be able to be awakened, without causing too much trouble. But
A last thought. It went underground where there's presumably no sunlight, so perhaps it's currently awake in that vicinity.
and Professor, please make sure that the bill reflects that this was emergency services and that those carry a premium with them, because that's also anti-communist, right? Like overcharging somebody for something.
It's not overcharging someone. If someone wants prompt service beyond what is normal, it is. Yes, time and a half at the minimum.
Right, time and a half.
All right. So
Okay, onward.
John's got a personal ward and he's warded the shop. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
And,
And you're going to the sewers at midday in trappier clothing because you're not going to take your best clothes, obviously. And you're all going down.
Lanterns.
Yes.
And I will bring a small stake and hammer, but mostly to like pin up the bill if that seems the right thing to do.
I mean, that certainly sends a message. We could have put this through your chest, but instead we're just giving you a bill.
We can stick it to their coffin.
Yes. All right. So, Professor Bennings, can you detect the faint whiff of the musk?
Should I roll? I guess I could. Wouldn't the badger be better?
She's got to be in vulture form to do that.
Okay.
Right.
Whereas Haley can actually do it in human form.
All right. I mean, I'll shift into badger form if that's the best way to track her. So.
All right. Badger form, you get in the sewers. Yeah, it stinks.
Mhm.
It smells like shit, basically. It's down the sewers.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's a.
So I'm going to try to locate what I can locate.
Yep. That would be awareness.
Okay. Do
Otherwise
I
you
get the
to
bonus
wander
from
around the
being a
sewers for
badger?
while. Yes. Well, that's kind of the fact that you can actually find it rather than just get lost in the smell.
True. 11. Then.
Right. Okay. Yep. You can find it going to a junction, and it keeps going. And then there's like a little door on the side. It's got filth all over it. It appears to be locked.
This is this actually odd for a vampire? I mean, you'd think they'd be somewhat cleaner if they've been around for quite some time.
Well, this is the outside of the door. The inside could very well be clean.
But why would they have a door this filthy?
So that you wouldn't notice it.
Oh, camouflage. Okay.
It does beg the question, though, of whether or not this person owns this location, is paying rent, or is living here, well, without paying any property taxes at all.
A bloody squatter.
Precisely. I was not going to say it, but yes. I believe this might be a rather hypocritical vampire. I hope not.
Unless she's trying to enlighten people to...
I hate to be wounded by a hypocrite.
It's so much worse than being wounded by something that, actually...
Conviction.
Right. And adheres to its convictions. That has convictions and sticks to them.
Okay.
So do we want to force the lock?
You can do that or try and pick it. I'm not sure.
Or we could post the bill on the door.
Oh, come on.
That's just rude.
We can knock first if you really want to be less rude. And then if we don't hear any response, we can certainly just pick the lock. Well, I mean, I can't, but John, is that something in your wheelhouse?
Lock picking.
It comes under stealth.
Oh, it's something
think
under
so.
my wheelhouse then. Okay. Then I shall endeavor to do that.
Go for it.
Well, we'll knock first to be polite.
There's no answer.
Okay.
Bloody lazy vampire.
I'm going to have to turn back into a person with those pesky fingers instead of the perfectly usable digging claws. But so it goes. And then I will attempt to pick the lock. In fact, yeah. So that's stealth. Right. And say, this is just like Taste the Blood of Dracula. I have a 13.
You pick the lock.
Mhm.
There is a small, I don't know, 20 by 20 foot room. Looks like a bunch of old barrels and chests in there. Looks like they've been there for 100 years. Maybe in a shelter from one of the many wars.
So, are there footprints on the ground? How clean is this inside?
Yeah, there'd be some footprints.
Is there a doormat for us to wipe off our feet, or what is the cleanliness?
It is not clean. There's no doormat.
All right. This vampire, I don't know.
So much for your thought that this vampire was mannered.
Mm.
That perhaps the inside is fastidious, and the longer we spend down here, the less I think we're facing some sort of vampire trying to enlighten people. One that's open to a philosophical debate.
I mean, I kind of figured that after she attacked me and just called me a filthy socialist. So, in any case,
Are there footprints that go somewhere? Can we see where?
All over the place.
All right.
That would be. Yeah, what does tracking come under? Survival, apparently. Has anyone got that?
survival.
No. No one's got
No.
it. Okay. Yep, tracks go all over the place.
Good enough.
There's no
Is
other
that-
exits.
Mhm.
And the jasmine smell is all over the place.
Okay. As is the musk smell, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Matt, yeah.
Well, gentlemen, after you.
All right.
Or, sorry, I keep forgetting.
Well,
Which-
she seems to
which
be a
way?
hypocrite, so let's go left.
I see what you did there.
Okay. So you got to come out of the den, room, whatever you want to call it.
The
And the-
antechamber.
Vampire lady is at the door. What do you? She sort of looks at each of you. What are you doing here?
We came to have a chat. Also, we have a bill for you.
Present the bill.
Roll with conviction, Professor Bennings.
All right. You see what stat
That's
that
3.
is? 3. All right. That's something I'm actually good at. 9 total.
He sort of looks at the bill, looks at you. I believe this is yours and you mean what you say, but why are you giving me a bill?
Because you bleeding attacked us and trashed our shop with commie literature.
Because you're communists?
What the hell gives you an idea that we're communists?
You
We just
hang out
gave you
with
a bill.
communists? Well, perhaps you're not communist, but you certainly hang out with a lot of communists and socialists.
The university you're saying. Is that what you were referring to?
The students? Yes.
Oh. So you wish they would increase the tuition, is what you're saying?
Increase the tuition. Oh. We're not capitalists either.
I'm sorry. What is your what are you trying to achieve by attacking the students? Are you trying to repurpose resources for something else?
I'm trying to get that communist filth out of our country and protect Regina's fine nation. And by Regina, I mean the Queen.
Ah,
It's been some time since you've been up there, hasn't it?
No, I go up every now and then. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot of threats to Her Majesty's brilliant nation. We cannot sit by and let these foulness fester and pollute the great British Empire.
Well, I can't fault you for wanting to keep the Empire great. So well done on that. However, I do believe that you are that the Empire has evolved, and your actions are in fact becoming a detriment.
What she's saying, if you're not understanding it, is that it's a different world up there. And we need to educate these students so that they can actually compete and outperform the goddamn Russians.
Well said. I don't know last you were informed, but the current era, it's 1,972 years since Christ was among us.
Yes, I know what year it is, but there are always threats to the United Kingdom, and we must protect them at all costs. All right, so you're going to have a debate. This would be either charm or rhetoric. Whoever wants to lead.
I think Vennings is up for some rhetoric. I don't know if she's good at it. Let's see. Probably not. Debate. Why don't you just say that, Puckett? I'm. you type some fun stuff in chat.
Debate with the vampire, a rejected Anne staff.
We can do the interview later. Yeah, Professor Vennings has nothing in rhetoric to help her, but I think that's what she'd be doing anyway.
Yep. All right, so roll 2d6.
All right, 2d6. Protecting the Empire can come in many forms. I got a 5. So.
Okay, so she's having a stronger argument. I can't do it because I'm not a monarchist. But does anyone want to try to help John or Haley? Do you want to throw anything
I will
in?
absolutely try to help. Because if we don't have students, for God's sakes, haven't you ever heard that that you're liberal when you're young and you grow more conservative as you grow older? Look at you. You're older than all of us and you're more conservative than all of us. You've had the time to get there.
All right, so you can roll charm and if she's buying your debate.
Probably not, but I'm due for a good roll, right? And there it is. A 10 plus 1 is an 11.
All right, so that lifts up the other roll to 7. All right. So you've convinced me you're not communist, but I found communist stuff in the dormitories of the university. I didn't put that there. I just redistributed it elsewhere.
Look at that. You redistributed something. What's more Marxist than that?
Oh, wow. That's taunt.
And you did leave items in our shop. By the way, I do appreciate some of the bits of literature. Anton Chekhov. I dare say having your mind expanded to all points of view is enlightening, even if you disagree with those points of view.
She said, no, that's the point. You can't read that poison. She's going to attack you. Haley, what are you doing?
I think I'm gonna pull out a tabloid rag. I am currently looking up. Let's see.
Wasn't the Sun around back then?
Hmm?
Wasn't the Sun back around back then? Or the Daily Mail?
Well, the Sun would be
Oh,
funnier
yeah.
for a vampire attack.
That's true.
So you're pulling out a newspaper.
Right. I'm specifically pulling out a rumor rag about the royals and about the scandals in the British government.
She's
And handing it to
already-
her, going, "I don't think the students are should be your primary concern if you want to save the monarchy."
This is to be a charm roll because you're trying to persuade her something she doesn't currently believe. So roll charm.
Mm-hmm. I've got no
Sure.
charm. I do have empathy though. Actually, which is a good question. Yeah. I'll roll charm, sure, but if this doesn't work, I'm going to try to use empathy to assess what I think might be her to change her tactics and stop attacking people.
I mean, she
have
can
a
always
6.
sit in pub. She can sit in pubs and argue with them. I do have some charm. Can I assist with this?
No, you already rolled.
Okay.
So can I assess her personality if that didn't work?
You no, because you've already done it. You can see she's a fervent monarchist and
Okay.
that. So she's like, that paper's controlled by communists. She's like, fine, I won't attack you. You're obviously not communist. I'll leave you alone. But if you don't mind, I've got work to do.
And what work is that?
I just said there's lots of communist stuff at the university. The students are rife with it.
So you're stealing it.
I'm sending a warning that they can't do that. We must keep the monarchy safe.
If you're
Perhaps-
sending a warning, you need to leave a message. And the message is you're not leaving messages. You're just sending students to the hospital. And literally no one knows why.
And not to be rather direct, you're spreading communist propaganda by leaving these booklets. The Communist Manifesto, for example. You're encouraging people to read this literature by littering it about, including in our shop. It's on the bill, line 7.
She's like, I'm protecting Her Majesty, and she takes a bill and throws it down the sewer tunnel.
No, like legitimately, how is planting these books on students helping? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'd like an explanation, honestly.
Well, it is in the papers that dodgy students have been getting attacked. All right,
You attacked a law student and a medical student. Law students grow up to be lawyers and medical students grow up to be doctors, neither of which are traditionally communist professions.
Do you have an alternative suggestion?
Don't attack people. You can
And leave literature that's more appropriate to your point of view. I say that if you perhaps would do an op-ed in a newspaper, that would be perhaps a good starting point. Even though they are controlled by communists, as you say, they do often print points of view that are contrary to their own.
And honestly, I don't care if you want to steal all of the communist literature in the dorms. Hell, break into people's houses and steal it. We're not here to say don't steal the Communist Manifesto or other literature you find dodgy. We're here to just say stop attacking people. It's bad form.
It does
That's
not
why we're
ref-
here.
it doesn't reflect well on the monarchy.
Or on vampires, for that matter. All it does is tell everyone that the rumors they've heard about vampires are true, and they should come down here and they should burn you out with torches or something like that. We're
The
down here
rumors don't-
talking.
The rumors don't matter. We must protect the monarchy. But I'm hearing what you're saying. We'll
The
try and-
monarchy has laws, and you're violating them.
It's true. The Queen's Mace is in Parliament.
Oh, we'll try it your way for a month.
So
What are our criteria for success?
And she's like, 1 month, and she runs down the tunnel.
She could have benefited from better education. I dare say the university ought to be more liberal in letting students in. It seems she was not granted enough benefit.
isn't it ironic? The very thing she's railing against is the thing that would have helped her in this moment.
Yes.
A month. She would not tell us what the criteria for success are. How are you to know whether or not the strategy is working? I suppose it might have to do with the protests.
Students are going to
She's very
protest.
annoyed that there was, communist stuff or socialist or even just Russian stuff in the university.
You know what? Professor, I have an idea, and this is absolutely your ballpark.
Please do tell.
If she objects to communism and everything that it represents,
Yes. She should run for office now. Come on.
no, that would require her to be in daylight. This is something that we can do, especially given your position at the university.
She should teach.
No,
Oh.
again, daylight.
Yes, night classes.
You could start a student organization to study the great works, all the literature that extols patriotism and virtue and freedom. There has to be some of it somewhere. And perhaps if students start attending those meetings and it's done as a student organization, maybe that would be enough.
Yes, that sounds delightful. Instead of her putting all this time and effort into eviscerating students, she could be teaching classes. I dare say if she were to teach them, well, on her own time, that would be a bit of irony. But perhaps she would like to be put on the payroll.
I'm
So
just.
I'm guessing you're discussing this as you're leaving the sewers.
I thought we
yeah,
were just standing there talking about it.
she ran away, or did she not?
It's also
All right.
really, you ran off, but it's also seriously smelly down there.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
I,
Let's go back up.
and honestly, we do need to discuss this and plan this out further. And what could be more British than doing so at a pub?
I think we might just want to take a shower and change.
Yeah, shower,
Fire.
change clothes.
First, yes, absolutely. Then the pub.
Mm-hmm. That seems perfect.
Before we leave, I would just like to look around the room, like that was vacated, what the haunts are, what the barrels are, they're labeled. Like, what was this place, this lair?
Yeah, it looks like during World War II, it was like a bunker.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. And was there a crypt or a coffin or a bedding
No,
or...
sure. She'd come in, been in that place a few times, but that wasn't where her coffin was.
Oh, okay.
We've not yet found her lair.
All right.
Well, she's still musky. We can work on that.
Well,
Okay.
she won't be in a month, but that's okay. We have a month to research ways to
Exactly.
vampires.
A whole month. I mean, and in the meantime, we don't have to worry about students getting attacked. We
And
can
if
plan.
she mends her ways and we don't have to do that, all the better.
I do have to say, I would not mind putting her on our payroll. I mean, it would be useful to have someone of her skill set and knowledge.
I agree.
I somehow don't think she would ever deign to work with us, though.
Well, one can hope we'll find some means of compensation, just as I am working in coordination with you. I'm not working for you.
Yes.
If
When
we
we have
are to
common interests, yes.
truly, and perchance she did run away, but we will need to interact with her before the month is out, I believe, in order to, introduce her to the night classes that she might be teaching. So we'd need to contact her. Perhaps we ought to try following her scent now. Perhaps this is our best chance to reconvene with her, to give our proposal.
Okay.
I'll
So
look back
that
down the
night,
tunnel sadly.
So you go home and wash up, you change clothes. By the time you get to go out for a meal, it'll be like nighttime, and the bachelor and bachelorette parties are starting.
Oh well, I suppose we'll have to attend these social obligations and hope that Musk stays about.
So I'm guessing Haley and Professor Vennings are going to the bachelorette one.
It only be proper.
Okay.
Yes, that is the case.
And being students, there's a little bit of a debate about freedom of speech versus tradition and loyalty to the country and all of that. It's up to you whether you sort of join in or encourage it or discourage it and go,
Wouldn't it be delightful if we had someone here who could speak from a very direct perspective about loyalty to the country? It would be so enticing if there was someone who would share their point of view with you. Alas, I do not feel I am the best qualified. However, I met someone today that I'm hoping to bring into the fold of the university to express directly to you, using their words, the points of view that are in discussion now.
Professor Vennings, I think we can all agree that on the subject of free speech and discussions thereof, it is an imperfect world that we live in.
And there's some complaints about how the police were too rough during handling the student protesters earlier that day. You lot were down the sewers when that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Over at the Bucks party, they're playing Rolling Stones. At one point, someone reads out some stuff from a French newspaper about events in Poland and Czechoslovakia and Russia.
Are they talking about it favorably? Like what's going on?
Yep. You don't think it's an objective article that they're reading from, though.
Right.
It's a sympathetic.
And I point out it's from the bleeding French.
Yeah.
Charming. All right.
Prague Spring was 2 years ago.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no mention of that. Okay, so what are you guys going to do in that month to stop or not to deal with the situation, try and make things better? I mean, you can just go around setting up wards everywhere if you want, but it just means he'll be tired all the time because of.
I mean, warding the city it's certainly a choice. It's an option. I think with my geomancy that I could probably do something relatively effective, but I mean, that's literally all we'll be doing the entire month. So, Professor, how's that literature club going?
Yes.
We can say you set up one, and she will come and speak for night classes.
She is Professor Vennings, or
No.
was she
the vampire?
What is the vampire's name?
Brittany.
I was thinking Karen, but okay.
No, it's Brittany. Twice a week, she'll come and speak at a night class for philosophy and debate, and it's all very pro English, pro traditional.
Well, she's a royalist.
And sure, and also maybe have the history professors suggest that this person has a very unique perspective on history. So if they have questions about history, they might want to pick her mind. And also maybe have some economists to have her talk on economy, and then also law, like what British law says about speech and I could basically have a co have the class like co-taught by other professors, so she could teach one part, and then the professor would teach another element of economics, for example.
I think the students would be kind of amused, kind of enthusiastic, because sometimes she talks as if she was actually there in 1789 or whatever it was, because she actually was, but they don't know that, and they just think, oh, she's just overly enthusiastic and in the zone, sort of thing.
Right.
Haley, what are you up to?
I think I'm. I mean, if it is like, wasn't clear to me that we were supposed to fix things for her, if that makes sense. But if that's the direction we're going, I do have a strategy, which is, I will attempt to find out what handful of students are responsible for distributing a decent chunk of admittedly, it's really Russian literature and political theory, but and see if I can give them some pointers on how to conceal the literature.
Okay,
Preferably,
it's actually the guy that hired you to stop the.
Yes.
It seems Sarsu attacks on shit. He's the one that's actually distributing most of it.
Okay, then I will talk to him about how to conceal it in the guise of pro English monarchy texts, because I have a feeling that Brittany doesn't read these things that carefully. She seems to be a very judge the book by the cover kind of person, and so and frankly, let's be honest, if the British are, if the cops are going to give somebody a problem for having a book on the proper way to display the British flag, because there's an entire book on that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're probably going to look at that cover and not bother to realize that after page 3, it's actually, a discussion about Marxist economics or the poems of Anton Chekhov. So, just let's make an environment where everything can happen, but nobody is any the wiser, as it were.
And also expose Brittany to the external threats to the empire, the Russian communists and the Cold War, and how truly we need to stick together as Brits to defend ourselves against these external threats. And so harming one another is truly doing the work of the communists for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all. It seems to be working, hasn't it? In fact,
Mm-hmm.
after a while, you've chatted with the professor who hired you a few times, Haley, and he sort of shows you his Makarov, which is a Russian pistol. Is so they won't take this from me. This is handy to have. But yes, all right. So the attacks stop. She sticks to her word. Does the debates. And
my dice like find some way if she could like go into the foreign service. I don't know. It's kind of a lark.
And
so basically, your crew gets access to the college libraries 24/7 as part of your payment for the job, and Haley gets a scholarship.
Oh,
nice.
Means I need to find a course of study.
I thought you were doing medicine or something.
Oh no, that was the thing. I got out. I was playing. I'm not a student. I just am the same age as the students, so I get along with them.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
And I'm easy to
There's
talk to.
Scholarship there if you want it.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. I should. But actually, I was thinking of taking her in a direction where she learns more about the world. I could see.
You've taken the vampire under your wing.
I like. Is she now an adjunct professor? Is she going to Pride?
And I was thinking, does this mean we can actually bring her on for cases and things now?
No.
Damn it.
You're still too
No.
free thinking and capitalist.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the problem. Yeah. Well, in any case, I will find it. I will find an appropriate major, as it were. Probably not sociology, but despite the help of our good friend there. Unless the scholarship is in sociology, in which case, sure.
Well, it's up to you. Yeah, whatever takes your fancy. You can pull some strings and get it for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll wrap things up there. In the the near or longer term future after that, what's an epilogue for each of you? We'll start with John.
It probably won't surprise you that John is sitting in a pub.
No.
But it's pretty clear that this isn't off hours. Like, it was after a lock-in or something along those lines. Because there are a couple of representatives of the Fey realms sitting at the table with him. And he is earnestly trying to recruit them, saying, look, there are times when we share there's a threat to the Fey realm that also affects us, or vice versa. It would be nice to be able to have an arrangement, an understanding, if you will, that we can call upon each other in such moments. Because you're much older than I am. You have much more experience than I do. I care about keeping my city safe, but there are times when the things that go on here might affect you.
They will be they're twins. They're kind of androgynous looking dryads. They've been in town a while, but they're they don't want people to know they're here. So if you keep their nature on the down low, then they're happy to help you out.
John does know something about discretion. I mean, after all, he doesn't talk about what happens when Bart possesses him.
It's probably best that way. Okay. Ailey or Vennings, who wants to go next for epilogue?
I'll go. I can imagine Vennings in her office day, after these classes are taught, speaking to Brittany, and then just Vennings just being utterly charmed by how ancient this individual is, as she's just drawn to it, and has this uncomfortable realization that Vennings is attracted to Brittany because she's just so old. And it's delightful, this perspective.
She's very fanatical, Monica, so
right.
Like, guaranteed way to get her angry is just discuss in a sympathetic way any other point of view.
And so she's Vennings realizing this, finds some political flexibility within herself to ingratiate herself with Brittany to broach the idea that they could be more than friends.
A werevulture, necromancer, and a vampire. That could work. She's certainly enjoying having company because you didn't sort of interact a lot before.
And someone who doesn't wear polyester all the time. Oh my associates of mine, Mr. Henderson, he's so god-awful with his gold chains and his polyester bill-bottoms and huge collar. It's so delightful to have someone such as yourself, especially now that you're not living where you were. I'm so glad you took me up on my offer to stay with me.
Well, she's got a few places to stay, but yeah, she'll come and stay with you and chat with you often. That's fine. Haley.
All right, so I'm off. I imagine Haley is off in the north of England, probably County Durham area, doing a postgraduate practicum for a veterinary degree.
Okay.
And is coming to a farm to sort of with her mentor, who's I imagine looks kind of like Peter Davison does now.
God, all creatures great and small.
All creatures great and small. And as we go to the farm, we're there to inspect some cows and see if one of them, if the herd is sick or not, basically. But as I approach the farm, I detect a faintly familiar whiff, and I realize that it might be the case that the family that owns this farm are werebadgers.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
They sort of talk to you privately when your
Yeah,
mentor is
so-
around.
so
or
I-
whatever.
Right, and I think there will be that moment. I like stopping at that. Like, this is the moment that Haley will encounter another werebadger for the first time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Whether they're relatives, who knows?
Probably their son. Okay.
Mhm.
There's probably a shot of Aisling going sort of hiking in a valley in the autumn and the leaves are falling down and just sort of enjoying being in the outdoors. And then there's a shot at night of the shop when a young couple in winter clothes come up to the shop and you realize it's the two from session 1 that were doing magic on people to screw them over. They put a box at the door, bang on the door, quickly leave. Aisling will, at this point she's out back at the shop. She brings the package inside, leaves it on John's desk because it's got, Christ, what's John's name again? John Hardesty on it.
Didn't we still have the wards on the store from them since they never triggered anything?
They would have run out by now because this is like a couple of months later. And yeah, when you have a look at the package, you don't detect anything magical about it. There's a pile of bones inside. And because you've been to the hospital many times and you've seen x-rays, you realize the bones inside are your bones. And then we go, credits.
Mystery.
There you go. Yeah, I guess we don't really need to do wishes or thorns, so just, roses.
Once again, fun to have a non-combat solution to the problem. Although I felt like we weren't honoring Blake. You said she attacked, and then Haley brought out the sun paper.
Well,
so I
she was about to, and then he kind of waves his
Oh.
paper in her face, and she's like, "What?"
instead of a cross saying "Stay back." Look at this column here.
Yep.
It was just
Promptly affair.
I gotta agree with Mander that I was not expecting to wind up debating from something like a punter's perspective in a sewer with a vampire who's very anti-Marxist. But that was a whole lot more fun than another fight.
Yeah.
And I think my rose here is just that it feels like we all kind of fell naturally into that mode of operations. Like, okay, yeah, we could go stake the vampire, but what if we do something else? And in the I mean, sure, there was some violence. I mean, this session was a little bit darker, but it still winds up in almost a whimsical way. Like Haley's out on, a veterinary assignment and apparently meets a family of werebadgers. Professor Venning starts falling for the Tory vampire. I like that quirkiness to it. It was serious and yet it was also lighthearted in a way, and I really appreciate that. That is a difficult balance to pull off. So, there's a rose for you as a GM, Blake.
Haley, you want to go?
So yeah, and I did enjoy how the situation transformed, as it were. Especially the I was a little nervous when it was like we entered that room and it's like, do you go left or right? And of course we had to go left for obvious reasons. But the way that sort of turned into something different than what could have been a dungeon crawl, as it were, was, I think, pretty appealing. And I do like how that kind of that whole situation transformed. Yeah. And I am aware that last session I did wish for an attack at the Hen Knight. And I know I kind of blocked that happening several times by suggesting we do things before there. But it felt so much like Haley would be really, really worried about something happening for the Hen Knight and really want to deal with this before then.
No, that's fine. I just, I reminded you guys about it twice. I can't do any more than that. It's up to you guys.
No. Right. I just, that was one of those, it was all on my mind, but I was like, oh no, what if there's an attack on the Hen Knight?
Yeah, that would not
so that was very much the player going, oh, that would be cool. And then my playing the character going, no, she's going to try to do everything she can to stop that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah. But more an explanation and apology than anything else.
All good.
But I do like how that kind of formulated out, in that like the celebration was the Hen Knight and the Buck Knight, not the debacle, as it were. Because poor Lydia, she doesn't deserve a debacle. She works hard enough as it is.
Yep. Amanda.
Just the joke about going left in the dungeon is funny because it doesn't matter. Is that right? Or correct, I should say.
Oh, the first joke or the second joke?
I thought it was once done and then just recently revisited. Maybe.
Oh no, the whole joke was that because she's a hypocrite, we should go left.
Oh, political. Got it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. That's all cool. Thank you all for playing. That was different. Went to some interesting places.
Absolutely. I do look forward to playing with all of you again at some point or other. So
yeah, same.
Yep. And I'll try to keep, when I ever get the chance to actually run games with the Gauntlet, I'll try to keep the Australian time zone in mind too.
Oh, it's all cool. Well, I'm sure we'll play again at some point. It's all good.
And